Hello, this is Young Jin Yu.
And this is Nick Parenti.
We're happy to be with you. However, it's virtual, so we're sad to not be in person with you this year.
Yeah, and then we are obviously here because the pandemic, and our heart goes out to all the folks in India, I hope that situation will get better soon, and all of you will go back to normal lives, and us as well, and hopefully whatever we do in this course may bring some normalcy back to your lives, and focusing on some of the things that we can think about the future and world in which we want to live.
Yeah. So the name of the course is what? Digital Innovation Strategies, right?
Right.
And it's about digital innovation. So we're in the digital age, right? We're not in the industrial age anymore, although many times a lot of what we've learned, it kind of has industrial age roots, right?
Right, yeah. And we know that at ISB you have several other courses related to digital marketing, big data and data analytics and AI and whatnot. What is particularly unique about this course is that our focus on digital product innovation and product development.
And if you're going to innovate around a product, you don't just do it for fun, right? This isn't a technology class. It's a strategy class. It's a digital innovation strategy. The way you innovate with a product is in a context of a business. So you need to understand the business model. So we're going to spend a lot of time on business models in this class.
Right. And then, at the end, any product needs to be sold and used and loved by the users. So, you need to begin with, unmet needs of the users and how they use the current products and alternatives and what it is, that they're trying to accomplish, what is the job to be done, so to speak, and how much are they willing to pay for the service. So these are the kind of things that we will, discuss during the class.
So we do some discussion of digital stuff like technologies. We do discussion of business models, design thinking, some economics around product innovation.
Mm-hmm. And then we'll have you work on real project and then do some presentation as a team.
Exactly. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about what you can expect from this course. Like, Youngjin, what should they do before they show up for the first day of class?
Yeah. So obviously you will have to watch this video. You complete it even if you find it a little bit boring,
this is not boring. This is totally fun.
So hopefully you'll find it entertaining, more entertaining at least than other courses. But
what are you saying about the other courses?
No, I'm not comparing about other courses. I'm comparing ourselves with like a Saturday Night Live. So that's my bar. Anyway, so we have a bunch of videos that we have made available for you to watch. These are, short videos, some like 15 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, covering various different aspects of digital technology and digital innovation, a little bit about design thinking. So a lot of it is just a refresher and fundamental concepts that we expect you to know before you come to our the session, the synchronous sessions.
So before you come to the sessions, you'll see this video, the other videos that we have in the syllabus, but during the term, you will be making your own videos as well. And these are about business models, these videos. So we're going to pick the very first day of class, we're going to put you into groups and start right away in week 2 presenting your videos. And the videos are going to be about a technology. So for example, maybe you'll pick the machine learning technology, you'll pick quantum computing, you'll pick 3D printing, blockchain. You'll introduce us a little bit to the technology, but the key is going to be comparing at least 2 business models using the technology. And every student is going to go through, create a video around business models using different technologies. And we're going to intersperse those throughout the course to make sure everybody, a lot of the ideas we have in this course, you're going to develop products, you should incorporate some next generation technologies. So this is a way to get everyone, up to a certain point with those technologies.
Nick and I study a lot of companies doing digital strategy and digital innovation. I have not yet seen a company failing innovating with the digital technology because they do not know what to do. Everybody knows where to go. Everybody knows at a strategic level digital is important. What is lacking is they don't know where to begin. It's a ground game that makes a difference. So these little things, creating videos and uploading it, and we're gonna use Miro board, during the workshop sessions. This probably may not be the most profound things that you learn from this course, but maybe 10 years from now you may look back and say those little things actually made a difference because I became more digitally oriented. And so take those things seriously, and I hope you will enjoy them.
Okay, so our videos, their videos, we'll sign them up first. So the way the course is going to work is basically there are 4 weeks, and then they present their product idea the final week. And throughout the 4 weeks, we'll be walking your groups through. This is a different group than your video group, but we're going to be walking through a product idea. And the first week, and we're going to alternate weeks. We'll have me the first week, then Young Jin, then me, then Young Jin again. And we should hopefully be there both for your final presentations, the final week. And in the first week, we're setting the stage. We're going to make sure we all understand the same thing when we say business model. And we're going to understand what it is we need to think about when we think through business models. And we'll go through a variety of different business models and how to think about strategy with digital technologies.
The second week, we're going to cover 2 things in a very concrete way. Some of the things that we discussed in week 1, we're just building on. One of them is now you're going to choose for your project a particular market, for example, whether it is healthcare or diabetic management or, chronic conditions or vaccine distribution or, and then we're going to ask you to think about what we call digital value loop. So how do you use digital technology to wrap end users' experiences in a way that we could create this recurring, ongoing engagement in creating powerful digital touch points, and use those touch points as a way of creating and retaining value through this interaction. So that's the first thing that we're going to do in week 2. The second one, the second session, we will then also take a deep dive on who are these users, right? So, we can think about conceptually users are this and that, but we will, try to be a little bit more concrete. So we're going to create persona. We are using the tool called persona to be very specific and deliberate and intentional about, studying of these individual users.
Yeah, so and throughout these second, third week, you'll be doing a lot of individual research activities as part of your group process. So you'll be doing interviews, empathetic interviews, maybe some observation, that sort of thing. So you'll be doing research. And then in the third week, when you have me again, we're going to talk about competitive analysis and market analysis. But we're not doing so in a traditional way. Your competition is different when you're competing with digital products, right? It's something we call digital convergence. All of a sudden, there's no one thing called an industry. You're competing with tech giants in just about whatever you do. And that's because whatever your business model is focused on, you tend to be part of a platform ecosystem of some sort or another. So you need to figure out your place in that platform ecosystem. So these ideas of digital convergence, these ideas of the business models associated with platform ecosystems, we're going to get into those in week 3. And at the same time, you're going to start thinking about the competitive analysis, the market analysis for your product idea.
Well, I'm going to make one correction. Because of the pandemic, probably we are not going to make you do observation.
Oh, that's true.
Right?
Yeah.
So there will be no observation, but you will do like a Zoom-based interviews.
Yeah, normally we do observations. Yeah. I guess we're not doing that this year.
Yeah, we won't be able to do observations. But again, I think the way a lot of companies are innovating with market research, user research also is evolving because of this pandemic. So if you could come up with some creative way of doing observations. So for example, I was doing, proposing a work with one of the big Korean companies doing during the peak of the pandemic here in the US, consumer research, and we were actually thinking about using GoPro camera, placing it, sending it to the consumer's house and ask them to place it in the kitchen where a lot of traffics are, recording it for 24 hours, retrieve it back, and then analyze it, right? So with the user's consent. Because of the funding issues with all this pandemic crisis, we never did the project. So I don't know whether that will work. But the point is that you can innovate with your data collection as well. But we're going to ask you to do some interviews. Now, moving on, week 4, we'll be focusing on really bring all these things together. It's a final week. Bring it all together. There are 2 things that that we're going to focus on. First one is what I call digital value premium. So digital innovation is expensive. A lot of times, the organizations fail to innovate because they didn't see the return on investment. The CFOs just stopped digital innovation after the pilot because the margin actually is much smaller. I learned something today. The cable TV profit margin, traditional cable TV margin, is much bigger than the streaming service. Did you know that?
I did not.
Yeah, so it's interesting. So AT&T just sold Warner Media because the Warner media business margin was much smaller than their traditional cable business. And they couldn't figure out how to create a what I would call value premium. Yeah. So after all this $80 billion investment on digital streaming service, they just divesting because they couldn't figure out how to do it. And again, there is
so it's not just pricing you're talking about.
Oh no, it's not about it's a whole cost structure. How you create non-linear, the sort of like a margin that is growing, right? Yeah. So marginal value cannot be just a lot of times industrial economics, as your scale of operation grows, there is a negative externality comes in actually, right? So the more product of same kind on the market, the utility of the product goes down. But in Google, the more people use it, the more value you create, right? So that's in a very simple way, positive network or positive externality, and network is one way of creating it. So you have to be intentional as you design your product and innovation idea. You're thinking about how can I create this kind of a positive externality from the beginning. And then, of course, the final class, we'll talk about a different revenue model, like a pricing strategies, whether it is a transaction-based or subscription-based or some sort of a derivative model.
You know how we used to price software in the old days? Well, someone would ask what your software cost, and you'd look at them and say $10,000. And if they didn't blink, you'd say, per user. and if they still didn't blink, then you'd say per year. Exactly. So that's how we used to price software.
Right. It's difficult, and also the challenge is that a lot of times the traditional executives from industrial market, they didn't have to start pricing from the scratch because usually they inherit product,
right?
And so they have a range, they have a lot of data, so they could choose a 5% increase or 10% increase. Now a lot of times when you do really disruptive product, you have to
difficult to
it's a
figure it out.
pretty difficult challenge. So you have to think about it. What is appropriate range?
If you digitize your Nikes, you're working off of the price of Nikes, right? But if you're digitizing something that never existed before, then where do you start?
Yeah, exactly, right.
You're going to tell us? I want to be in that class.
Well, I don't know, but they will have to figure that
out. Okay.
Yeah, they'll have to figure it out. Well, we're professors, so we know some principles, and we expect people to apply those principles to come up with an answer.
We lead the horses to water, but they have to drink.
They have to drink it, right? Yeah. So. Anyway, so that's what we're going to do. And then what are they going to do about their project? What's the nature of the project?
So the project will be a product. Right?
Yeah.
You'll give us a product idea. You'll take all that research that you did in the previous 4 weeks, right? The interviews that you did, the analyses, all the tools, and then you'll put it together and do an incredibly professional presentation.
And the context of the project is the product innovation is the pandemic, so we're thinking about it. A lot of the new products are coming up, so home is not just a home now, right? Home is a school, home is work, and work is now not going to be just like old home, workspace. So there are a lot of interesting opportunities to create new kind of products. So drones, delivery, and so forth. So think about, and when we say a product, we're not talking about physical product, right? We're talking about digital products. So service is a product, right? You know,
Or
product
it could be a
times-
physical product.
Yeah,
that's
it could be,
digital.
it could be
pure,
a
pure
physical-
software.
Yeah, exactly.
It could be some combination.
Yeah.
And the idea is that we're going to play around with being futurists a little bit, right? We're
Right.
thinking, okay, the world changing because of the pandemic? And,
Right.
and as a result, what innovations will find the market?
Right.
And that's where we are.
Okay, so we've been talking for 15 minutes.
That's pretty good, right?
So that's good. So, well, we look forward to seeing you. So we're gonna have some sessions, with the mural board. We will communicate with you through our, teaching assistants, and you will all receive an instruction on how to create an account, and then we'll walk you through how to use it. Some of these brainstorming sessions, we used to do it in person in a room. One of the highlights of this course is like 2 days of workshop at Hyderabad campus gym. We turned the gym into a workshop studio, and we had a lot of fun. Due to this pandemic, we cannot do it in person, but this is how many,
This is probably better.
better, yeah.
Well, at least it's not much worse, because I mean, I'm curious about that. I know you've used this package before.
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
never used it, so I'm very
It works pretty well, and actually, like you said, there are certain things, you can do that you could not do, in real setting. You can.
And there are some advantages. Design thinking we always had to do in the room together. Now
Right.
we could do design thinking with people in India, China, the U.S.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
So that's kind of cool.
So all right.
Very good.
So again, we look forward to seeing you, our email addresses are available on the syllabus. So feel free to send us an email if you have any questions as you go through this video, other videos, and syllabus. And we'll be happy to respond to any questions that you may have.
And I look forward to seeing you in the first week.
All
Take
right.
care. Bye-bye.